British sporting calendar. For the first time in 3 years, the Grand National will take place in front of actual fans at Aintree. A sellout crowd of 75,000 will be at the course for one of the world's most famous races. And it's thought that £150 million will be gambled across the UK. But while millions of people will be watching on TV, the Grand National also has many critics. Since 2000, 13 horses have died during the race. We claim to be a nation of animal lovers. But should we still be staging a race that sees horses run more than 4¼ miles, jump 30 fences? In fact, with research from Animal Aid finding that 186 racehorses died as a direct result of racing in 2019, some people think horse racing should be banned. But to discuss this, I'm joined by Brendan Powell. Now, Brendan Powell actually won the 1988 Grand National on Rhyme and Reason. And Dene Stansall, who's the horse racing consultant at Animal Aid, joins us as well. Fantastic stuff. Look, absolute pleasure to have you both on the show. Really appreciate you making time for us, especially on a Friday night. Brendan, I'll start with you. Look, some people think horse racing is cruel and it should be banned. How do you respond?
Look, I'd say in the last 20 years, so many modifications have been made on this race and everything's been done to sort of make it easier for the horses, for the jockeys, for everybody. And I think now it's as safe as it ever was.
OK, all right, look, I'll flip it over to you now then, Dene. Why do you think it should be banned? It brings so many people so much joy.
Well, it may bring joy, but it also brings heartache to a lot of people as well. A lot of people are against that race, as we saw in your out and about interview, and certainly there's certainly a movement against the race that I've seen. I've followed the race for many years. My grandfather was an Aintree bookmaker, and I followed the race over the years, and it still retains that ability to kill horses. We saw a horse killed last year, the Long Mile. He jumped Beecher's Brook. 2 strides later, his hind leg went because of the demands made on the horse in that race. Fewer than half the horses who take part in the Grand National have the ability to finish that race. And I know Brendan's got great experience. He's won the race on Rhyme and Reason back in 1988. But either side of that, there was a horse called Dark Ivy killed the year before in the most horrendous circumstances. The year after Brendan won, 2 horses died, C and Dem and Dark Tricks. And horses still dying right up to this time. But the changes that Brendan talks about in the Grand National were brought about because of campaigning by groups such as Animal Aid.
OK, but Brendan, can you see a future, frankly, where horse riding is banned? Let's be honest, we seem to be over-sanitising society every which way you look at the minute. I mean, surely it's a matter of time before the eco lot get their hands on it. I mean, would you reckon you might be virtual horse racing within a few years?
No, I don't think so. And look, everything's been done. And I know what Dean is saying about horses getting killed in it. But, I mean, the likes of Dark Ivy and those, they were back in the 80s and 90s. And since the year 2000, when Beecher's Brook, the Chair, all these fences have been changed. And you got to remember, back in those days, these fences were actually made of growing trees in the middle. They've all been done away with now. There's ordinary park fences on them with some birch on top. So basically, these horses now are jumping what they would jump normally day to day. And I think, actually, if Dean had his way, all racing would be banned.
Is that true, Dean? Is that true, Dean? Would you actually ban all racing?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it. When you've got over 200 horses dying a year on a racecourse, that means there's an animal welfare issue that the industry are not being able to deal with. And they consistently allow hundreds of horses to die every year on racecourses. And while that continues, how can people with any moral responsibility ever support that? And Brendan talks about the changes to the cause of the fences on the Grand National. That was brought about because of Animal Aid people like myself going to Parliament and saying these fences need to be changed. It wasn't the industry that changed them because they thought, we'll do some good. It was because of public pressure.
All right, Brendan, how complicit is the horse in all of this? You do see sometimes, for example, I know, appreciate this is not the same thing, don't get me wrong. I was very lucky one time to go husky riding, right? Those dogs absolutely love it. Frankly, you can't stop them doing it. Is it the same with a horse? Is it raring to go? Does it want to, or does it need a good whipping?
No, these horses are born to do it. And if racing was banned, there'd be thousands of horses that wouldn't be born every year. We talk about horses dying. There's horses break legs in field. There's show jumping, eventing, in every walk of life with horses. There are accidents and there's horses getting killed. It's the same with dogs. With every every walk of life. And if that was the case, we wouldn't be breeding horses anymore. We wouldn't be breeding dogs. We wouldn't be show jumping. You know, those horses get killed, you know, with people riding them on a Sunday doing show jumping, etc., etc. So I think everything's been done by the BHA, the jockeys, the trainers, and the animal welfare to get this race as it is. And I think it's a great spectacle. And as far as I'm concerned, it'll never be banned.
Brendan Powell there. I'm just going to give the final word over to Dene Stansall. Dean, are you a vegan? Because if you're not, it's all a bit hypocritical, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm a vegan, yeah, sure, yeah. And we're seeing a growing...
Are you actually? Are you actually?
Are we? You know, are turning to veganism because they care about animals. You know, it's quite a... Yeah, but let me just finish on a serious point about racehorses. Brendan will know that a lot of ex-racehorses go for slaughter. We filmed inside slaughterhouses of horses who've run at Aintree, run at Cheltenham, who then the racing industry haven't even had the decency to take care of those animals that they have exploited for money and gain at their own end, and they've sent them for slaughter. That's a dirty industry, and it should be confined to history.
All right, look, we could chat about this, gents, I think, couldn't we, until the cows come home. But Brendan, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Brendan Powell there, who won the 1988 Grand National on Rhyme and Reason. And Dene Stansall, he's a horse race consultant at Animal Aid. I enjoyed that.